The Elves and the Shoemaker, retold by Vera Southgate, with illustrations by Robert Lumley. Once upon a time there lived a shoemaker and his wife. The man was a good shoemaker, and he worked hard. Yet he and his wife were very poor. As time went on, they grew poorer and poorer. At last, the day came when all the shoemaker had left was one piece of leather. It would make only one pair of shoes. That evening, before he went to bed, the shoemaker cut out a pair of shoes from the leather. Then he left them on his workbench, all ready for him to sew next morning. As they were going upstairs to bed that night, the shoemaker spoke sadly to his wife. "I have used my last piece of leather," he said. "I have cut out one pair of shoes. Tomorrow I will sew them. When they are sold, I do not know what will become of us." The next morning the shoemaker got up early and went into his workshop, ready to make the shoes. On his bench, instead of the leather that he had left cut out, he found a pair of shoes already made. He was astonished and did not know what to think. The shoemaker took the shoes in his hands and looked carefully at them. They were neatly made, with not one bad stitch in them. He showed the shoes to his wife, who said, "I have never seen a pair of shoes so well made. They are perfect." The shoemaker and his wife could not think who had sewn the shoes. The same morning, a lady came into the shop to buy a pair of shoes. The shoemaker showed her the pair he had found on his bench. She said, "I have never seen such well-made shoes." The lady tried on the shoes, and they fitted her perfectly. She was so pleased with them that she paid the shoemaker twice the usual price. With the money, the shoemaker was able to buy leather for 2 pairs of shoes. That night, before he went to bed, he cut out 2 pairs of shoes. He left them on his workbench, all ready for him to sew in the morning. The next morning, the shoemaker got up early and went into his shop to make the shoes. But he had no need to do so. On his bench, he found the 2 pairs of shoes already made. He took the shoes in his hands and looked carefully at them. Once more, he found that they were neatly made, with not one bad stitch in them. That morning, a man came into the shop to buy some shoes. The shoemaker showed him the 2 pairs of shoes he had found on his bench. The man said, "I have never seen such well-made shoes." He was so pleased with them that he bought both pairs of shoes. He paid the shoemaker twice the usual price. With the money, the shoemaker was able to buy leather for 4 pairs of shoes. That night, before he went to bed, he cut out 4 pairs of shoes. He left them on his workbench, all ready for him to sew in the morning. The next morning, the shoemaker got up early and went into his shop to make the shoes, but he had no need to do so. On his bench, he found the 4 pairs of shoes already made. He took the shoes in his hands and looked carefully at them. Once more, he found that they were neatly made, with not one bad stitch in them. And so it went on. Every night the shoemaker cut out some shoes and left them on his workbench. Every morning he found the shoes all neatly made. Many rich customers came to his shop to buy these perfect shoes. So in time the shoemaker and his wife became rich. Yet the shoemaker and his wife still had no idea who made these perfect shoes for them. One evening, not long before Christmas, when the shoemaker had finished cutting out shoes, he went to his wife. "We still do not know who sews the shoes for us," he said. "Shall we stay up tonight to see who it is that helps us?" His wife thought that this was a very good idea. So she lit a candle and they went into the workshop. They hid themselves in a corner of the room behind some clothes which were hanging there. Then the shoemaker and his wife waited quietly and watched to see what would happen. For a long time, nothing happened. Then, just as the clock struck 12, the doors of the workshop opened quietly. In came two tiny elves. They were dressed in old clothes and their feet were bare. They did not see the shoemaker and his wife, who were hiding in the corner watching them. The elves jumped onto the workbench and took up the shoes that were cut out. They began to stitch and sew and hammer. They worked so neatly and so quickly that the shoemaker could hardly believe his eyes. The elves did not stop for a moment until all the cut-out shoes were finished. Then they ran quickly away. The next morning at breakfast, the shoemaker asked his wife, "How can we thank these little elves who have made us so rich and so happy?" "I know what we can do," said his wife. "We can make them new clothes and shoes. Their own clothes are ragged and their feet are bare." During the evenings that followed, the shoemaker and his wife began to make new clothes for the elves. The shoemaker chose the softest leather he could find. He cut out two of the tiniest pairs of shoes you have ever seen. Then he stitched the shoes as carefully as ever he could. The shoemaker's wife cut out two white shirts, two small green jackets, and two pairs of trousers to match. She sewed them with tiny stitches. She made two little caps, each with a feather in it. She also knitted two pairs of wee white stockings. By Christmas Eve, the tiny clothes and shoes were finished. The shoemaker cleared the leather and the tools from his workbench. He and his wife laid their presents on the bench instead of the usual work. Then they hid themselves, as they had done before, and waited to see what the elves would do. Just as the clock struck 12, the door opened quietly as before. The two elves came running in. They still wore old clothes and their feet were blue with cold. They jumped onto the bench, ready to get to work at once. But there was no leather on the bench, only the tiny clothes. The elves were astonished at first, and then they were delighted. In no time at all, they were out of their old clothes. Then, talking and laughing, they dressed themselves in the beautiful new clothes, the green jacket and the trousers, the white shirt and the stockings, the soft leather shoes and the little caps with the feathers that nodded as they laughed. In their delight, the little elves skipped and jumped over chairs and benches. Then they joined hands and danced around as they sang, "Now we are boys so fine to see, we no longer cobblers to be." At last they danced happily out the door. The shoemaker and his wife never saw the little elves again. But from that time, good luck was always with them. They were rich and happy for the rest of their lives. Thank you. Like and subscribe down below.